Hello listeners, this is Atinyo from Morning Echoes here with the Director General of Nagaland Police Headquarters. He is popularly known as Rupin Sharma, and he has been very actively involved in public as well. So here is an interview with him. Welcome to our program, sir.
Thank you.
Well, sir, do tell us about what are some of your apprehensions when you were first deputed here as DG in Nagaland.
I did not have any apprehensions. I have been in Nagaland for long enough, and I think I understand the culture and the mentality of Nagas. I may not be a born Naga, but I am living as a Naga in Nagaland. I may have some differences with my lifestyle or my behavior, but I understand the people. So my apprehensions were not from anyone else, but my apprehensions were from myself. How good or how better I can perform for the public.
What are some of the initial challenges you faced at the administration level as DG?
See, when there is a change, there are apprehensions among people. Because as I always say that, although change is the only thing which is permanent, but people dislike change. We always live in our own zones of comfort, and when there is a change, that zone of comfort also changes. So my predecessors had their own style of functioning. I have my own style of functioning. So the initial thought was, how soon would the police headquarters and the entire police force be able to adopt and adapt to my style of functioning? And if they would be able to adapt to my style of functioning quickly, then we could deliver results quickly for the public and make Nagaland a more peaceful and secure environment.
What are some of your top concerns and projects you are undertaking so far for the police department?
I think the top priority that we had was the elections, and I'm very thankful to my entire police force, my officers and the public, even the political parties, for helping us to conduct the elections peacefully. So that was the initial concern, because I joined as DGP on 24th of November, and we had just about 2 months for preparation, including the Christmas holidays and all. After that, my major concerns or my major projects, as if you would put it, were basically at 2-3 different levels. One was the welfare and concern about my own police force, which is almost 26,500 strong. And if we multiply it by a factor of 5 people per family, it is almost 125,000 people, which is a huge number in terms of Nagaland. So their welfare was my top concern. Welfare in terms of the job hazards, their performance on the job, their supplies of ration, whether we are able to meet their expectations of what they expect from us. Because our Jawans are mostly not very literate, so they don't know their rights, and since they don't know their rights, they don't even know what is admissible to them or entitled to them. So that was a major concern, one of that. The second part was the professionalism in the police. Now, professionalism in the police depends on the quality of the input, quality of the manpower we have. I'm satisfied with the quality of the manpower. In fact, our Jawans are, I think, the best in terms of the quality that we have, in terms of the robustness and their physical capacities. They are excellent, probably best in the country. I don't have any hesitation in saying that. I think what was required was to give them a direction of leadership, which I, along with my senior officers, we've been trying to provide that direction. So once that direction comes and that direction is clear, I think the performance enhances. So this was clearly evident during the elections, where they did a commendable job. And I just threw my weight behind them in order to help them achieve whatever they could on the ground. Because I realized I have to trust my Jawans to do everything. And I just trust them to do things to the extent that they do it within the ambit of law. And the third aspect, which is the most important, is how can we use this entire police force of 26,500 people almost to make the life of the people residing in Nagaland or transiting through Nagaland peaceful, happy, secure, so that we can provide an environment for peace and development in the society, which has probably been lacking behind other parts of the state, other parts of the country.
On the issue of providing security and services to the public, what is your opinion on it?
Nagaland is different as compared to the rest of the country or the rest of the world, in the sense that the society is still deep-rooted in tribalism, and the village is the basic unit of the society still. The affinities towards the tribe and the village are very, very strong, and they cut across all departments, all establishments. So this is a major challenge. How to make the right mix of this strength of affinity towards the village and the tribe, and how to assimilate it with the modern policing. That is the most important challenge that we have in Nagaland. In other parts of the country, the usual trend that is followed is that no SP or commandant is posted in his home district where he purchases a land or he has a landed property. No SDPO in his subdivision, no OC in his home district, no constable in his home police station. In Nagaland, it's probably the reverse, where everybody is there in his home area. Now, that is a major challenge. Means for civilian departments, yes, like education, you may need to teach children studying in Mokokchung district in our dialect, but policing is different. We cannot have a situation where everybody posted in Mokokchung is an Ao and everybody in Zuneboto is a Sema, because of the first two factors that I said about the tribalism and the village mindset, the affiliation to the village. Just in case there are clashes or there is conflict, interest or conflict of values or physical conflict, then you will have a police force which starts taking sides on tribal lines. So this is a major challenge that we have to address, and we have to probably think in terms of making our police forces more cosmopolitan at all levels, so that there is a right mix of police force at all levels.
What is your take on corruption and nepotism within and without the state, which seems to be crippling the functionings of governance?
I think basically a society can be described as in a very small example, it's like a white light. Now, when the white light falls on a prism, then the white light is all white and it is all mixed. So in such a society, all functions are mixed. Everybody is doing everything. There is sort of no rule of law, or the things are not very well divided. The tasks are not very well divided. So a similar situation exists in Nagaland, where despite there being government service conduct rules and everything, where government servants are actually not entitled to undertake business, but everybody does. Similar situation exists because the affinities towards the villages and the tribes should not get precedence over governance, but they do. So this is a white light kind of society in Nagaland. And then when white light falls on a prism, the colors start getting divided a little bit, but they still overlap. So I would say, like, the rest of the country is at a stage where the colors of the spectrum, they overlap. But in the Western countries, where these functions are very well divided, the colors are quite separate. The overlap is very little. So we have a lot of path to travel. So far as corruption is concerned, I think corruption cannot be defined only in terms of illegal gratification, in terms of money. Favoring someone from his own tribe or a village or a family member or a neighbor, whether it is for money or because of relations, that is like legally called, it is illegal gratification. So if I'm sitting on a table and I'm taking money for something which I'm supposed to do, that counts as corruption legally. However, in Nagaland, as I said, like, it's a white light kind of society, so everything is mixed. So there is hardly a distinction between a government servant working in his official capacity and in his private capacity, because of which corruption has sort of become all prevalent. It's become a way of life, and like people probably don't understand where to draw a line. I hope and I think that the only way this can stop is through education, where people, the younger generation, especially children in the schools and colleges, they are taught about what is corruption, how is it bad, how it is bad for the society and development for their own self, and also for development in general terms, in economic and social terms, but also development of morality in a society. So that is very important, and only once the children understand what is right and wrong, things will change. The other aspect which needs to be done is transparency. Transparency in governance, transparency in functioning, that will help. And these two things, education and transparency, when they go together, they will bring about more enlightenment in the society where people will start questioning. I think my simple request to everybody would be, don't curtail dissent. If there is someone who is questioning you, he has a point of view, allow that point of view to grow, and either you convince him or get convinced by his point of view. We should not fight. But yes, look at his dissent. He may have a point of view. But when he questions you, if he questions you for a right thing, I think there is enough scope for us to change for the better.
As a propagator of youth empowerment, especially among the Naga youth, what do you wish to convey, especially to the young Nagas?
I think growth is not only about our physical well-being, but also our mental well-being. Growth is also about our exposure to other things which are better than us, other societies, other ways of functioning which are better than us. So I would request and urge the youth in Nagaland not to only become literate. Literacy is not the end in itself. Literacy is just the beginning. I think people should become more educated so that you realize what is right and what is wrong. And if there is something right, you should help, assist and propagate it. If there is something wrong, you should resist it to the extent possible. But I would request the youth of Nagaland that if there is something wrong, resist it, but resist it within the confines of law. There is enough scope within the Indian Constitution, within the codified laws, where the government and the courts will be able to redress your grievances. A path of non-violence will help in growth of Nagaland. So I would say go abroad, talk to people outside the state, talk to people within Nagaland who have interacted with people outside the state, people who have exposure in the northeast, in the rest of the northeast, people who have exposure in the rest of the country, or who have worked abroad, because their work ethics, their exposure will teach us a lot of things which we will not be able to learn in Nagaland, but which we will be able to implement in Nagaland for betterment of people in Nagaland.
If you don't mind, I pose this question, whether you have any interest in joining the politics after?
No. I don't know. I may have interest in joining politics. Man is a political animal, so am I. If you do something good, people will support you. That is not my apprehension. But right now I don't think I will join politics. Yes, maybe 10 years down the line, if I can take a plunge somewhere to help in the betterment of society, it will be good. But I think even without joining politics, there is enough to do as a government servant. Currently stick to that line. What happens is that goodness is prevalent more throughout the society, whether it is in Nagaland or in the country or in the world. But it is the bad element, which is more aggressive, which captures more space and gains more prominence. That does not mean that good is not prevalent in the society. It is just that people who think good, those who mean good, should join hands, come together and try to change the society for a better place for all of us. So I think all people who think good should come together. That is my expectation from everyone in the world, not only within Nagaland only.
In conversation was Sir Rupin Sharma, the DGP of Nagaland Police Headquarters, and you have just heard well, listeners. He emphasizes on the universal goodness, and I hope that is a powerful message that you have all received. Thank you very much.